One. We're live. Welcome, everybody to chatWater, the show where we chat Blackwater. Hello, Yanis. Welcome
to be back.
Yanis, we missed you so much.
Deja vu. Yes, I am very, very happy to be back. It was weird not being here for 2 weeks, not having somewhere to sort of decompress the episodes.
Yell into the void about the episodes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird for us too, Yanis.
We missed
when you
you.
splooge into the void.
When you splooge into the void, the fuck.
The void splooges back. You messed it up again.
Speaking of the void, I'm starting the 20-minute void of when we start talking about.
I don't think we'll need 20 minutes on this episode because this episode was just you guys not wanting to commit to dealing with the problems at hand.
No, this was our DM saying, "You've got time to have shenanigans. What do you want to do?" And we all said, "Shenanigans."
This is Tim being very kind and giving us a beach episode when we have it in the middle of a very long and very grueling arc, coming off.
Yeah, this is shore leave, dude.
Yeah,
we'll go back to fucking World War II in a second, but
coming off the
we're gonna paint the town red.
Fight stuff was just a bunch of not great. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but I think that we needed a win at the end of the Matron of Vengeance fight, or at the Battle of Dawn and Dusk, and we got a mixed bag. So this is us being well, we still have stuff to do, but fuck it if we're not going to try and have fun first. And you can't let Blackwater go into a bar.
No, I mean, that was... I do like the idea of the royal we being very representative of Callie. They are both royalty.
Yes.
So it is very much a royal we with whatever decisions they end up making.
I love Len's just pure commitment to how Callie exists in a bar setting when she's not with Kamea. Len's commitment to that is a testament to their play as a D&D, and love it.
It was painful to me because I have been to bars and nightclubs with people like that where they make decisions and choices that you look and you're like, why did I come to this place tonight? I knew how this would play out. And the second you guys were like, we're going to go to that bar, I knew exactly how it was going to play out.
And in the pit.
If there was a pit, someone was going to end up in the pit. And I'm just really, I'm sorry it was you, Sean.
Look, let me tell you, that initiative roll was rough because the spell I was going to cast, it was Tense Transformation, get all my armor, and fucking saving throws for strength saving throws. That big man would have charged at me. I would have said, "No, thank you, sir. I'm not going anywhere." But I rolled a 9, so I went in the pit. And I went in the pit.
I was when it came around to my turn after we found that we'd hurt, or I had figured out that could put 2 and 2 together, that someone of ours had fallen in the pit. Also my lighting is so bright right now. Oh, that's okay. I was like, well, I either swan dive off the balcony after him, or I try and get this guy to bring him back. I was like, let's just stop fighting. We can't step to this guy in his own place. I think that's one thing that Neppy is starting to learn about the world, is that home turf is an advantage. The home turf advantage is huge. And she was like, we did not need to fight here. We can just let's just use what we have available. And I mean, Neppy knows that the prime word with the devil is deal. That plays into their business bureaucratic stuff. It's just yeah, fuck it. Let's make a deal. What do you want? I want my friend. What do you want? And then when he didn't take the deal, I was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to blow a hole in your shoulder then.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't take the deal, quite frankly. I think he made a pretty good pitch.
I thought so, too. I thought you made a good pitch. I also thought the roll was pretty good. It was an 18, I believe, off the top of my head. So I was quite surprised. I thought, but what I'm guessing happened was from a behind the screenish kind of peak, is I'm guessing that DC went up with Callie beheading his buddy in the in the moments in between.
Yeah. Well, and like
but-
I guess he still thought that he had the advantage. He still thought he had home turf advantage, and then I blew a hole in his shoulder, and then Callie just cut him in two. Like we 3-shotted him.
Yeah, I was like, this guy doesn't know us. He doesn't know that, like, he really needed to put Callie in the hole if he needed to have the high ground. Like, me in the hole, that's good, but you need a Callie in the hole.
You need to
Otherwise,
you need to put the ASMR in the hole if you're gonna
the
have a
paladin
problem.
ASMR.
Yes.
Like pretty talented against them fiends.
Well, and that's like Bolt of Glory. The spell that I have is the one spell that I like. There's a couple spells that I have that do really well. Oh my god, my lighting is out of control right now. I am very sorry. Anyway, we're just gonna ignore it.
you look angelic.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
You're glowing, Em.
Thank you so much. It's purely lighting, not pregnancy, I promise. It's lighting and makeup. That's all it is. But like I was like, yeah, don't piss off the cleric and don't piss off the paladin. I was like, the two people, just don't do that. Just let us get. I just was like, we need to get out of this bar. We need to get out of this bar. We need to get out of this bar.
I mean, for a silly episode, there was some really sort of important little lore tidbits that you guys learned that have huge ramifications. The Void created, first of all, we now know that the Chained Oblivion is dead.
There's some bad shit.
Something
Well,
happened.
cut
in
up
there.
into tiny pieces is what the man said,
Well,
and that is.
Yeah,
what happened,
but
I think
that's
that was the
Matron of Vengeance.
Oh yeah,
So
I forgot
I
about that.
because she flew into the abyss right before we sealed the rift. So, like, I think she basically took the opportunity while the Chained Oblivion was chained and locked down, and
snip,
to just like
use her dagger,
make a little fricassee of the Chained Oblivion, and now there is a void. And I love that Tim dropped the lore about Thalbask being burnt, because I've known about that for ages.
Yeah, we've talked about this before
Yes.
in chatWater. You've mentioned that it's your knowledge. It's not in-game knowledge, but
no, it's
your
from the
other
campaign.
Yeah,
that has been.
I love
on
the
hand for a
crossover.
while. Yes.
You guys are starting to become worldly enough to sort of learn about the things that are happening off continent.
Planerly enough, if you will.
Yes.
I mean, that does mean then Tiamat down, Chained Oblivion down. That's two of them lower gods just out of the picture.
Yeah.
And it goes into my theory that if the gods gave pieces of themselves to chain the Chained Oblivion, and the Chained Oblivion is now dead, she could possibly be in possession of those pieces.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, currently she's at least like temporarily bound in the negative energy plane, and for a time. Like we know, I mean, Neppy's seal, the amulet, Raven's Gate, is still intact. Obviously, Kokanee's, like, I think Kokanee would feel if the gun had been destroyed. And once we get that back, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to wait until the planes get close enough again. Like has what's happened with what she was talking about, how like when the negative energy plane merges, you see like crops dying, gray skies. I think we're going to have to wait for that moment, go to where that is, and banish.
Well, it's going to be where
Alora's
town was.
I think it was Telekov. I think that's what happened. That was the second.
Yeah.
They were like this. It's usually in one place. I was like, that's fucking Telekov. That's gotta be. Fucking.
I mean,
it's story together is so good.
But the interesting question is what, like, if she's made a bubble, right?
Yeah.
Around. So this is if it intersected before and she was in there before, it's weird that she didn't come out. I mean, I guess she couldn't have because what I mean is it intersected before 500 years ago or 400 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Raven Queen or the Matron of Vengeance was in the negative energy plane at that time. So theoretically, she could have escaped then.
Not necessarily. Like the planes touch, but she might not have been. Like that plane is probably very vast, right? So it's not like.
Well, you guys got like what, 30 or 40 years before that happens?
I mean, maybe the magic goes skew if
Maybe.
Telekov.
We don't know.
We don't
Anything could happen.
And it's Tim Carlson. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I will say, though, just like the point is that I was trying to get at is Chain Oblivion gone. The devils are making a play, but also the bad dragon is gone. Tasks exist. Like, there is that big old unfinished business of Task and like the two free agent like dragon gods floating around with Unity isn't a dragon. Are they dragon? I don't know.
No.
Unity is just something else.
It was a god egg born of Io, who was the dragon god.
Right.
But
so it'll be a two-headed dragon.
No, I don't think they're a dragon per se. I think
I don't know. I think the
an
visual of a dragon is enough
They have
to convince him to make him a dragon.
Draconic. The point is that we have freed up celestial or infernal real estate and at least 3 free agent gods, one of whom is bound in the negative energy plane, who are all like, in terms of the mix-up happening in the upper and lower planes right now,
there's a shakeup.
It's a wild
the
time.
Matron of Vengeance is going to make a play for that plane. Otherwise, she would have stayed in that plane.
I don't think so. All I'm saying is just like, for, the last, however, the amount of time before Blackwater existed, things are pretty solid. Everyone had their kind of place.
Yeah, then you guys had to come and kill a bunch of gods.
We didn't kill that. We didn't kill the bad dragon. We didn't kill Tiamat. That wasn't us.
Well,
that wasn't us.
I mean, neglect of dealing with the situation.
Not our responsibility. We could have stopped it. But it's not our job to protect Tiamat.
Okay.
That's not our job.
Yes.
But I think that what's interesting is the sort of like the hell, the devils in hell making a play for the abyss.
Oh, and again, this is
I think that's going to be something that,
this is the crossover from the other campaign.
I don't think this is going to be something that's dealt with now.
Are we?
Oh, really?
Shoot. I'm so behind. What is happening with my internet? Are we caught up?
Yeah?
Yes. You and I just talked at the same time.
It was good times. Or I'm experiencing time in a linear fashion.
Me too.
Yeah.
You've gone full Halora on us.
Oh, God. Gone full wibbly.
Emma the Displaced over here.
Yeah, absolutely. My computer's doing too many things. Are we back?
We've never left as far as
we haven't gone anywhere.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We're having a good time.
Is my video synced up? Or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I'm
More
experiencing
Not really.
time.
It's always been synced up. You didn't disappear.
Oh, for 5 cents. Okay. And in any case.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
This is okay. I don't know what's happening. Fuck me sideways.
Emma the Displaced, I think, is the best.
Yes, the internet has displaced me. I don't know what is happening in my house right now. There is something going on with internet. I'm so sorry for the technical disturbances.
We're all here together. I mean, as far as we can tell, it's just your bot, like your little
moves
portrait
normally.
Yeah, but we're sitting pretty over here.
That's great.
I'm just enjoying getting the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, that's good. Okay. Well, I will go back in.
Why don't we roll the intro?
Let's roll that intro.
Let's roll that intro.
We'll roll the intro and then we'll
Let's roll that intro.
It'll write itself.
And we're back.
Oh
Emma, are you back on the same plane of existence as us now?
I don't know if I mean, I think I'm back in the timeline, but I don't know if I'm on the same plane of existence as y'all.
Fair.
Still displaced. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the kind of the cool bit that it's like Tim is taking the lore and the stuff from the other campaign and he's like now starting to like thread it through our campaign because as you said, we're getting to that like worldly stage of things, which is really cool. Like none of us in our campaign have ever been to, well, I mean, Callie's from the Labyrinth of Glass, but the rest of us haven't been to Ishion. And there is like a whole nother continent. That's where the main temple to Melora is. That's where the like entrance to the shadow. There's an entrance to the Shadowfell there that like we've been to. That my warlock Drew has been to. There's there's another Lake of Mercury there.
Yuck. We don't
Yeah.
like those.
Well, this
I'm surprised.
This one's real, not man-made like the one Halora did.
I'm surprised because I fully expected you guys when they were telling you about how there are natural places that cross over with Shadowfell, that no one asked to make a history check if they knew or if had heard of any place that would be like that. Because I thought for sure someone was going to be like, would I have heard of that? But you guys were all just like, no, we don't know how any of those places. We're just going to keep going with our plan.
Well, there's one place that I thought of, but we fucking hallowed it. So I was like, because it's like Spooky Crypts. There's that one place where Yana got her pants, and I was like, but we hallowed that. That's got to fuck up any sort of Shadowfell-ness portal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, I think the whole thing is that it's just like, you know what, if we're going to go through, I think we're trying to go through the proper channels. And the Banded Sombra are like so cool. So I'm like very, very
We're
stoked.
here. We're here. We're here.
Sigil.
Why? If we're in Sigil, shouldn't we at least try to go through the like Sigilites rather than like traipsing around? Although it would be fun to just like traipse around like Wolfar and just beat up some like level 1 goblins trying to find like a crypt.
Yeah. Well,
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
Think your thought. Shoot your shot.
So Birkin
Yeah.
is a Rakshasa.
He is
Yes.
a greater Rakshasa.
And
a devil.
He's from hell.
Yes, he was exiled from hell though.
Yes. So what if he's trying to make a play for the Abyss using his new buddy Task?
That's what I'm saying. Could be.
Because I was just thinking to myself, I wonder who this guy was saying his boss's boss's boss. And I was like, who do we know that would be like higher level, upper level hell, person?
Well,
and then I was like, well,
we do know that Erkin has been in Sigil because in the one shot, the Adonis one shot from last year, he was there with a statue of Task being like, give me a platinum. So like, I don't know. I don't fucking know.
There's no better way to make a play for the Abyss than to basically have like a newly ascended god.
Yeah, and if like
that's what I'm saying.
If Task is gonna be like, oh, my mom conquered the hells, I'm gonna conquer the Abyss.
Well, especially because like if Erkin has been banished, and he's like, okay, well, I can't go back to hell. I'm gonna find a new place for me to go.
Hell yeah. And demons.
Where I'm gonna be like, higher up.
Well, and like, yeah, and even though like there was a Garistro, which was a demon under the control of someone from hell, which is fascinating.
And Tim never throws in things unnecessarily, and he made a big thing about stating that this ring was given to him by somebody.
Yeah.
If he needed help. So that sounds an awful lot like Erkin.
I really did want to get that ring. I was like, someone's got to get that ring when you kill that guy. Somebody get that ring. Oh, we're diving into hell. It's fine. We'll get it some other time.
Yeah,
he'll rematerialize.
This is campaign 2. This is campaign 2 issues, though. I feel like the timeline on this is like, you guys are past power struggle for plane stuff. You know what I mean? You guys are on like ascending gods and like evil gods. You're not on like people fighting over.
I mean, the blood war, which is the ongoing war between the devils and the demons, has been going on for ever, millennia, eons, and that was the kind of underlying stuff between, in the other campaign. That was like the big kind of like, cosmic push that was happening in the other campaign. So it was a bunch of demons, I believe, that burned down Thalbask. So Thalbask in Ishion is a holy site, was a holy site, and it was burned down. Or was it a devil? I think it was the devils that burned it down. Tim is nodding. The devils burned down Thalbask. Yes, that's right. The devils burned down Thalbask, and they were making a play with one of the cities to like, there was like a pact that was made and someone was going to destroy something else and to try and like bring through a bunch of shit. So it's like, and that campaign has kind of stopped and is a bit on hiatus. So I love that Tim is taking the opportunity to be like, that's the cool thing I love about Tim's DMing, is that they're on his end, he sees all the threads. It's a real Charlie Day, like, this is my board, you know, and he's got all of the threads all over the place, and there is no thread that's left really untethered. He clocks all of that kind of stuff. Like, I even think about the stuff with Kokanee mom, Nella, when he gave up the knowledge of his mom. Like, I guaranteed Tim had something there. Like, he wouldn't have dropped that, unnecessarily. So, I don't know. I think that I have like a running list in my head, and so does Neppy, of like all of the threads that are left untouched by Blackwater. And the list just keeps growing. And that's terrifying.
The funny thing is that now if Tim decides to, is Kokanee's mom dead?
We don't know.
Just forgotten.
Now if you guys run into her and she uses an alias, no one will ever know that it's her because he has no memories of her anymore.
Well, no, he forgets her name. So maybe if he saw her, we don't know if Kokanee ever even knows what his mom looks like. Maybe the name was all he knew of her. We don't know because nobody ever asked him.
Well, and he didn't tell Neppy because he was with his dad alone when he got that information. And at least at the table, he didn't tell Neppy. I don't think I feel like Matt would have told me if Neppy knew. But I don't think he would have given away the knowledge if Neppy was to like hold the knowledge and he didn't have it. You know what I mean? I don't think it works like that. But I don't know. We'll see. And now we have to get letters out of hell.
Letters? Look, you don't.
Too late.
Fucking Giannis and Degristro, I swear to God, 3 rounds of combat, I would have pulled the lever, the thing would have opened, we would have been fine. It would have been fine. I got a Garistro help me out. I would have been fine.
I know. We have to deal with that pit fiend down there now. So
we don't, though.
But we'll just get all together. We'll just get out. We'll go back to Sigil. I'll send to Erika. Be like, please meet us outside the Bandit Sombra if you still want to, because we still want to hear stuff about the Shadowfell. Sorry, we broke up a bar.
Look, here's the thing. This is just because we meet her, Erika, and it was incredibly validating to just be like, yeah, there's this big shakeup that happened of like, we did that. Oh man, there's this wild rumor I heard about something flying through the plains. Yeah, we did that. Oh my God, you guys are cool. Like, basically, if we showed up and we were just like, yeah, we're going to go to like the equivalent of the Empire State Building and just like feed the pigeons. Like, that's no good. We just made this big contact and we're going to be like, what do we do for fun? Get thrown into hell on purpose. God. Like, what up? Take us seriously. Oh, and also, she's like a travel writer. So she's going to spread, the legend of Blackwater.
Throughout.
Yeah, Blackwater walked an angel into the hell pit and like... within a minute, started a fight with the boss, beheading him, and then everyone just dove into hell, without being pushed in. That's you can't pay for that kind of good press. You know what I mean?
It's not going to be good press for Letters when she says that Letters was very early on kicked into a pit. It's going to be very brand damaging.
This is why we've made a good
very brand
relationship.
Damaging.
No, we've made a good relationship with her, and the hope is, of course, that
you're
she might
not
massage certain details about what happens at the event. Because whose word are they going to take? Ours or literal fucking devils?
Or memoir writers,
Yeah. So we walked into the bar, and very quickly, Letters was kicked into a pit.
No, not how that happened.
His whole steez is kicking people into a pit.
Sean, you are literally wearing your Get in the Pit shirt today.
I literally am wearing
Get in the pit.
Get in the pit. I felt it was appropriate, but the frame can't get it all in one shot. It's either me or the shirt.
The frame is, you got to put the frame in the pit. Okay, well, I'm going to move on to our announcements here so we can start talking a little bit about the Feywild Arc, since we did touch on it in the previous episode. Yanis, not sure if you're caught up from the previous chatwaters, but we went through the Earth Elemental Plane Arc in 2 sessions. Len helped us through the first one, and Tim helped us through the second one, which was great. So I will do announcements. Sean, are you ready for your art along?
Oh, Born That Way. Let's do it.
Okay. A big thank you to our sponsors, Legendcraft, a nerdy woodworking company from Calgary, and Silverwing Armory, selling paper products for your RPG needs from Muskoka, Ontario. Check them out, and if something tickles your fancy, enter the code Blackwater for a discount at checkout. Love, as always, to our dice goddess, Keisha. Check her out at fairydragon_dice. Her commissions are open, so DM her for all your clickety-clackety needs. Yanis, do you have your dice with you? Your kale dice?
They're in here somewhere.
Well, in any case, I have been talking about how wonderful your kale dice are, so we should get some pictures of those.
Yes.
Put them up on the gram. Please send them over.
I will do.
So as well, our campaign artist is the amazing Tiana Kovacevic. She did all of the art that is, wait, that way. There we go. Those little sketches of Yanis and myself and Sean. And she does all the art for our main campaign and beyond because she's the best and we love her. If you want, Sean looks like he's starting again. If you want,
they don't all work out great.
On the cutting, there's some stuff on the cutting room floor.
Oh boy.
If you want art done by Tiana, please message her. You can DM her on Instagram. She has limited number of commission spots every month because she's super busy and very talented. So, and she's also like a peach to work with. So, like, please go get art done by her. I also, Tiana has been searching for a D&D campaign for a very long time for her to play in, and she finally found one, so I'm like very excited for her, and she was showing me some art of her character, and I love it. So she's amazing. She's the best, and like loves to draw fantasy art for fun. So please go message Tiana about your art. Our Discord.
Whatever campaign she ended up in is going to be the luckiest campaign for art.
I know. I love it. I can't wait to see it. I made her promise to fill me in on all the lore and story because we love that kind of stuff. Our Discord is an amazing, wonderful, lovely place. Type !Discord in the chat to come hang out with us. But while we're streaming, hang out here in Twitch chat because that's where all the cool kids are. And then we're always over in the Discord afterwards. Big thank you to folks who subscribe to us. Don't forget to re-up your subscriptions as they don't roll over every month. We also have a coffee. So if you'd like to support our show above and beyond a subscription, type !Donate in the chat to head on over. Also, we're just like super thankful to have you here and hanging out with us, talking lore. We're almost there, y'all. We are almost there, caught up with the entire pre-streaming campaign, which is wild to me because I think in the beginning when we started chatWater, we were like, are we ever going to get there? No. So
no, the policy has always been we'll get there.
There's never
get there. Are we going to get there? If we get there, no. We'll get there.
The slogan right over there says we'll get there, and this is us almost getting there. So thanks for hanging out with us. And you know what is great and why you love lore and chatwater is Lore Club. I think the people in chatwater who come every week have started calling themselves the Chatcolites. So thank you, Chatcolites, for all of your contributions to the lore. And if you want to get more involved with Lore Club, type !Lore in the chat, and that'll take you to a Google form where you can submit your name and contact information, and our mod, the New Experience Network, will get you all set up. You can come be a part of Lore Club on Discord. Lore Elves on the Shelves is our lovely little channel where we chat about all of the things in the lore documents that we're editing. I'm in there a lot, and if you have any questions for me, as lore keeper, you are always welcome to throw them up there. Programming this week, we are here. This is Monday. What a delight. We have nothing this Wednesday because this is our Wednesday off. We usually take the first or the end of the fifth Monday of the month off if there is Wednesday of the month off if there is one. But we will be back on Saturday for our main campaign. But if you're looking for something to watch this Wednesday, go and watch the Wagadu stream that we did last Wednesday. It is amazing. It will be up here for 2 weeks on Twitch, and then it will be off Twitch. So it was such a blast to partake in. It was myself, B. Dave Walters, TJ Storm, Alicia Marie, Brianna DeCosta of Utikime Cosplay, and GM'd by the amazing Alan Codicio, the creator of the Wagadu Chronicles. Man, so fun. Music, art, good role play, fun story. What else do you want? Please go check that out. It was a blast to make, and we're hopeful to do it again sometime. And then, of course, we're back on Saturday. for our main campaign. And so thanks for hanging out with us and supporting us, and we love you immensely. So Sean.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! You're getting so much faster at those. Oh, I'm just really gonna have to tie this together.
Sean, this is efficiency.
Oh, I don't know how arms work. Oh gosh.
Oh geez.
1 second. One second.
Don't
no. It's fine. It's fine.
One elbow, one wrist.
Look, it's just hands and kind of a face. Oh gosh, I really want to put a lot more detail into the jowls, but here we are. I wanted to depict Callie decapitating Jowly Man, and so I've got this is her sword. This is many of his jowls. These are the rest of the jowls. I didn't really have time to get her body or stuff, but he's not pleased about being there's little eyes and his tiny little bad ears and big sword. Swing.
The jowls are impressive. Well done with
your That's what I spent a lot of time on, honestly.
It was very jowl heavy.
Jowls.
Jowl heavy.
Heavy jowls.
But yeah, that's... And if you want to make... we love all art as... do art.
All art is good art.
That's not true, but we love all art.
That's not true.
I mean, all Blackwater art is good art. There we go. It is true.
I'm nervous to endorse that.
Yeah, no.
More being said, we love when our community does art. So please submit your art to us. Yes, we love an art here. I think that was, I remember when we first started streaming, we're like, what if people do art? What if there's art of our stuff? I think
that's the only reason.
Look at us now.
Look at us now. We're actually coming
Eventually,
up.
we will be releasing a coffee table book of just Sean's post-it note art.
Yes.
I've been saving all of them. I think after about 2 or 3 years of this, make a proper.
I love it. Okay, so last time we finished out the first Earth Elemental Plane arc. We talked about the ploy to go into Melek's mines and get Gorge. We talked about the fight with the the basilisks and the earth genasi and Kokanee using silence so it didn't awaken the Mother of Chasms the first go around. And then we talked about trying to get out of there, Finnan breaking hands with the plane shift and stranding all of us there, sending Kokanee back, and descending down into the Mother of Chasms pit where we fought an adult cave dragon, and Kokanee almost died so that he could save Neppy across the plains so she could keep everyone else alive, because love is sweet, and then coming back to Kokanee almost being dead. But we fixed that, and then we took a couple days off. That is where we picked up.
In game, we took a couple days off in game.
Like I read at the end of when we got back, it was like a day and a half. We were just like, nope, we're taking, because we had gotten back in the morning.
Must be nice.
And we were just like, we're taking the day. Fuck it, we just had a rest, but we're taking the day. Kokanee was in no shape to go anywhere at that point, so we're just like, he's got levels of exhaustion and stuff. So we were just like, we're taking the day. We just took the day to rest at Kamea's house after 2.5 days in the Earth Elemental Plane, which was really like 8 sessions, because Blackwater loves to slog through a day. We have learned this because Gar Yang was like 4 months and it was 10 days. So I love D&D time.
No wasted time. No wasted time. Blackwater lives every minute to
6
the max.
seconds at a time.
6 seconds.
Yeah.
Living every minute 6 seconds at a time. I like that. That's a good slogan.
It's actually a pretty good t-shirt, honestly.
I like it.
But we've taken a day and a half. What did we do then?
Oh, gosh. So we pick up at session 32, which is called Unyielding and Unwavering, happening on June 30th, 2019. So the following morning, after we take our break and all that kind of stuff, we get up the next day. This was the beginning of the next session, ready and raring to go. And Kokanee. Well, Kokanee is back on his feet. He's feeling much better. The exhaustion gone. He's healed up, but does realize that he likely has some sort of vulnerability to something, because Arathis had said there is a cost for what you're doing to try and save Nepenthe. There is going to be a cost associated with it because he went unconscious, as Tim mentioned. So in the following morning, Callie takes us up to Torin's grave. We've all been to Torin's grave a bunch in the last couple days, apparently. And she sits down and she's like, I feel like it's time that I actually tell you about my life. now that we're all back here, there's this thing that happened in my, the nightmares that I've been having, you should probably know about what's going on. So she grew up in foster care, essentially, in the Labyrinth of Glass, which is on the continent of Ishion, kind of like a continent over. She didn't know her parents, and she didn't know she was an Aasimar. She protected as many as she could, especially the younger foster children. And in the last foster care placement that she was in, there was this guy named Pimsire Gamwich, who was just not a good dude. And he was the person who had all of these foster children in. She had been separated from a foster sister previously, who was named Hala, and when she left the last foster home, she tried to get her foster brother, Bilber, who we know, a dwarf, to come, but he wouldn't leave. It wasn't as bad for him with Pimsire as it was for Callie. She left the foster home after Pimsire tried to make advances on her, as she was nearing to age out. And she tried to hurt her when she rebuffed him. So she punched him, broke his nose, and left. And she was just essentially on the run ever since as like a 17, 18-year-old kind of orphan, 16, 17-year-old. So she, after a while of bouncing around and just surviving, traveling from town to town, making money, playing games and working in bars, which is where we see Callie's love of bars come from, she met Taya, who was a paladin of Melora, and Callie kind of took up the cause and, said, okay, I'll follow Melora. I really like you, and this is a cool thing that you do, so I guess I can do that too. This gives me purpose and meaning. So they were seeking to protect the land in the Labyrinth of Glass from corruption, and were hunted by this fiend named Baron von Kron, who was from the Hells. And it happened one night that the Order of Paladins was ambushed by von Kron and his associates, and they were massacred. And Callie was the only one who escaped. She survived and vowed to kill the fiend, taking her order or her oath of vengeance against von Kron. And she knows that the Baron resides in the fire elemental plane. So she was like, okay. The Baron was obsessed with the Feywild and its magic, and was trying to seek, purge and pull magic from the Feywild for some reason, to try and for either his boss or something along those lines that she wasn't sure. And it's at this point she's telling us all this, and we're just like, okay, but we'll do whatever you want us to do. We will go and hunt him down if that's what you want, because we're your party, and you never have any needs. You're always the one who are helping us. If this is something that you want to do, we will help you take this on. And she said, yeah, great. That would be awesome. I'm not sure what that looks like, but we'll figure it out. So we head back to Kamea's house, and we get word that the Wolfrenian Navy has returned. So this is after the Battle of Gatestone Keep with Zacchus. So the Wolfrenian Navy had left Wolfrene to go and attack Svel-En, because of the fact that they believed that Mira-En, King Svel-En's daughter, was the one who assassinated the queen. So they were like, fuck Svel-En, we're going to go and fuck them up by boat. And we also get word that Captain Aganis, who is Finnan's father, had been injured during the battle. And they speak that he isn't the same as when he departed. So that's what's brought through. And Finnan speaks about his dad, says that he wasn't a great father, and it was just the two of them since his mother died when he was younger. So we're getting a lot of family backstory shit. We're finally getting into the part of the campaign where it's just we've been playing together for a year and a half. We did the first big arc. We've kind of completed. Finnan is now a member of the party after the Earth Elemental Plane arc, and we've all kind of joined together again. And so Kamea is like, why don't we all go to a council meeting? So we go.
That always goes great for Blackwater. Well. Anytime Blackwater shows up at a council meeting, it's a laugh. Everyone
we just
has
have
the best
such
time.
a gas at all of
we
the
get to see
meetings.
Wendell, who honestly kind of got snubbed in the Grapplies. I think Wendell.
Next year.
Not even a nomination. Wendell, the beloved NPC, voice of reason, Wendell.
Wendell D. Paulo, voice of reason. So Kamea is at this council meeting. Nissa has now been named the Archmage by the council, which is great. And as Silmac, who we know and love, the Dragonborn councilman. Wendell D. Paulo has been now named treasurer. Filling the spot of the previous treasurer who had been killed in the Gatestone Keep fight. And Cora Thorngage is there, Fildo's wife, who is just an absolute bitch. She's the worst. She is so smug and awful to everyone in Blackwater, and she's really, really shitty to other people. Like, she's especially shitty to Kamea, Nissa, and especially Nissa, because Nissa's a gnome, and Andaz, who were the people who did not vote for her to become on the council. And then Admiral Kazim, who has returned from this big fight with Svelin. He is quite stoic and somber, and the fleet was defeated. So the Wolfrenian army was defeated at Svelin. They suffered great losses with many of their ships destroyed and were lucky to make it out with half of the fleet. So they retreated. So Kazim does not believe that the war is over and wants to attack Svelin again, and has basically come back seeking permission to do so. Like, trying to figure out a different way, like whether they could attack Svelin via Southwatch, which is the lower town that is under the control of Wolfrene or something like that. So we share what we know about Zakis, and we're like, hey, you don't do this. This is not right. Like, Mira didn't kill the queen. She didn't. She couldn't have, because she was in the earth elemental plane. But Cora just keeps pushing the narrative, like, no, you have to attack them while they're weak. You have to attack them, show their strength, all this kind of stuff. So Cora's egging on war, which is what she wants. She wants to destabilize the region. So we're just like, what the fuck? Shut up. Like, stop trying to rage war here. Neppy calls her out in the middle of the council meeting and says, I didn't know that you had such expansive military acumen. And also, like, questions the legitimacy of her position on the council in front of everyone. Because Neppy was pissed, right? Because she saw that Fildo had charmed the entire council to get Cora on it, and she was like, no, nobody gets to, say that I don't know what I know. The Admiral reminds Neppy to remember her place, and she pulls rank on the Admiral and is basically like, you know who I am. I'm the high priestess of entire religion. You know where we're from, because he's from Katona as well.
Oh.
So they're both from the Amonkhet. And she urges him to remember that though the winds blow, the sands of the desert remain the same, unwavering. And she's like,
and I'm guessing that's an old Catonan adage.
Probably, yeah. I came up with it on the spot, and I was just basically like, she wants to basically remind him. She's like, don't try and pull rank on me. I know who you are. I know what you like. I know what you stand for. This is not okay. Like, this is not, like, you're from Katona. You're better than this. Like, you're not. This is not the way. This is not the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so
the opposite of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, this is not the way.
This is not the way.
This is not the way. You know the way.
Oh,
this is not the way. So Neppy, also maybe feeling a bit big in her britches at this point, says, well, if you're going to be like this, submit me to a zone of truth. If you don't believe me, I will willingly submit to a zone of truth if you don't believe what we're saying. The Admiral says, well, we just might do that. And Neppy's like, fine, you know where we live.
It was my idea. Don't act like it's a tough guy thing.
Yeah, don't.
If I say, here's this pitch, and you go, well, maybe I would. Yeah. That's
like, do it. Like, please.
Fucking.
We need
take
more.
the first shot, bro.
We need more sassy Neppy. Like, I don't know if we've seen this much sassy Neppy on, like, our stream. This sounds like Neppy's coming in there. She's telling people where they can go shove it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think at this point, Neppy is just like, we have a lot of shit that we have to do. We still have to get Mira and Kern back to Svelin. Like, I almost lost my boyfriend yesterday, or I almost lost my partner who I just got reunited with yesterday. Like, no, I'm not taking shit from anybody at this point. And stuff hadn't really gone sideways with the Velsum arc, so there hadn't been like that kind of growth that Neppy had experienced.
Blackwater had yet to be humbled.
Yes. Yes. Neppy had
We
yet
hadn't
to
done
be...
the meat prison.
No.
We hadn't done Belsoom.
No,
we
Neppy...
were hot to trot.
Yeah, well, that Blackwater was pretty... Neppy was pretty
it was
high
like,
under britches.
it was
at this
just
point.
coming off of like win after win after win.
Yeah.
Zach is in the ground. 2 new members. Fucking winning a gladiatorial combat. Fucking killed the mother of dragons. Fucking or
Mother of
pits.
Chasms, yeah.
That's the one. Fuck it.
Right.
Did a big fuck you to a giant. Fuck you. Who are you, an admiral? Oh, you have boats. Like half the amount of boats, the way I hear it. You don't even have full boats. Who the fuck is this guy?
Exactly.
Kazim.
Exactly.
The sand sure does blow sometimes, doesn't it? Fuck you, I think is what Neppy said.
Exactly.
I'm paraphrasing.
Exactly. It was a big just like...
It would have been really good if he was like, what the fuck does that mean?
That would be the greatest.
If Tim just like called you on that. Yeah.
From Tim. Nope. That doesn't exist.
The sands never change. And Tim's like, what the fuck does that mean? It literally changes all the time.
That doesn't exist in my setting.
I will say
Shut
kudos to Tim
I'm
Carlson.
going to be that DM next time I DM.
For letting like me kind of run with a lot of the stuff about the way that people from Cotona exist, that there is a lot more tradition, very kind of like a more traditional ritualized, tied a lot to, what everyone has done before it. I'm lots of proverbs and adages and very, very much like I appreciate that he's just yes-anded a lot of that. And kind of not.
You've heard of yes and, but have you tried no and?
Or no but? Like, have you tried
No.
but?
No but is no, I won't allow that. But how about this? No and is no, that doesn't exist, and fuck you for trying. No and is the worst.
No and would be like the sands don't forget, and then being like, no, that's not how the saying goes. The saying goes, the sands are always changing, which is literally the opposite of what you're trying to prove.
Fuck you, dude. That's not okay.
No, and this is the correct.
So we're then dismissed from the council meeting. And
fair.
Told
I feel like fair.
Leave. Yeah, this is the second time Neppy's been dismissed from a council meeting in like the same number of days. So we're getting used to it at this point. So we then make some errands around the town. Neppy goes to an armorer to get the white dragon scales that we had from Caradoc when we skinned that dragon, turned into armor for herself, which she still wears now, as well as a shield for Kokanee with the symbol of Arathis on it from Jayla, the armorer. Kokanee commissions 8 platinum rings for the group for warding bond. Neppy's ring that he gave her still exists, but his disintegrated when he tried to use warding bond across the plains to save Neppy, so he needed to get another one, and we wanted to have an extra, so we made a bunch of them. Spooky and Callie go to the tattoo shop. Callie does a couple tattoos, and Finnan goes to visit his father.
Oof. I remember this. This was yucky.
It was big yuck. So
this was really good but uncomfortable role playing of just like Tim being just a very convincing, like awful and kind of alcoholic dad. Yeah. Who was like
pretty verbally abusive and just really, really awful. It just like it really now that I've like watched it, it's that like kind of moment where your DM is like not easily slides into that role, but it's just like, oh God, that's gross. We were all just sitting there uncomfortable because Finnan was in there alone and none of us could obviously go because Finnan was there in his own house talking to his own dad, who's the fucking worst. And he kicks Finnan out essentially and is just like, you're no son of mine. And he makes Finnan take off the armor he wears, which is his like family armor, and makes him leave it. So Finnan is essentially without a home at this point and without his armor. And he just is like, fuck you, fine. Goes and leaves. Neppy tries to find Finnan later on by ascending because he hadn't come back and rejoined the group. But he doesn't reply to her, and he picks a fight with the drunken soldier who's out in the streets because Finnan's 15 and doesn't have good coping skills for his anger at this point. But he doesn't return to Kamea's house that night. We don't know where he goes, but maybe down to the beach to sleep. I don't know. There's a lot of nights that Finnan is like, I don't sleep at the house. And I'm just like, where do you go, dude? Where do you go? Where do you go sleep?
Well, that's when it really pays to have a bunch of wild dog friends that you can always hang out with.
Yes. Go find and hang out with your wild dogs. We also figure out that Clack used to have magic, but he lost it when we got back to the material plane. He and Letters go buy a bunch of bongos from Duomo and go down to the beach and start a hell of a drum circle. So that was one of the first drum circles that Letters and Clack threw.
Duomo, of course, beloved NPC,
Yes.
white guy, dreads, sheep pants, never a shirt, a lot of puka shells. We love this guy.
Leathery, two-tan skin. Yes, we
Two-tan
love.
skin.
We love.
Big fan. He hasn't showed up a lot since streaming, but
he's a big Wolfrenian.
It was a real like Letters first friend outside of Blackwater was Duomo, the drum circle beach guy.
Because we all know about Drum Circle Beach guy. That's great.
I don't think everyone knows a Drum Circle Beach guy.
We've all seen a Drum Circle Beach guy, put it that way. Like, I mean, at least I have.
A lot of places with no beaches.
That's true. Okay.
There's nothing sadder than a Drum Circle Beach guy without a beach. Just sort of
Drum Circle Park guy
playing his
not
fucking
quite the same.
through the park.
Oh no, Drum Circle Park guy. Oh,
not quite the same vibe.
Sat by a pond. There's like ducks, and he's making the best of it.
Drum Circle Pond guy. Drum Circle Field guy.
The worst part about Drum Circle Park guy is like the parents who bring their kids to like the play park who's right by there are always like, oh shit, it's this guy again.
It's a Drum Circle guy again.
You're never too young for rhythm. Very friendly.
I'd like to imagine like Drum Circle Fjord guy, like in Norway. It's like snowy and dark. He's just by a fjord, like still no shirt.
Yeah, that guy is
pale,
fucking
though.
metal.
Very pale,
that
though.
guy's hardcore.
Yeah, much respect for that guy. Okay, so
that guy knows hidden secrets.
When we finally return to Kamea's place, Kamea's there. She's gotten back after this long council meeting, and they're divided over the war. And as Kamea and Nissa voted against the war, and Cora, Kazim, and Wendell voted for the war.
Wendell.
And we're trying to figure out what Wendell's deal is and why.
He's the voice of reason. Come on.
And why would he be so keen to go back to war after what happened with Sakis? Kamea informs us that they're nominating someone to replace General Riza for the General of Wolfrene position, who will then hire a new captain of the guard. And there's two nominees, Valerian Solgar, who is a captain of the Navy, as nominated by Kazim, and Sura Makar, who was a teacher from the military academy, who helped lead the army and the townspeople down in the hooks against the elementals when Zakis was trying to take the city. She's very in touch with the common folk, and Kamea plans to vote for her. So that evening, later, we all head to bed that night after a very, busy day, errands and all that kind of stuff. Later that evening, Callie gets another nightmare. And this time it is more and more vivid. There is breathing really heavily, and she feels mud on her face. She sees thick, tall grass and the pounding of hooves. Deer are fleeing, birds are screeching, and a satyr runs past her, bounding through the grass, and she sees bears and wolves with their fur singed and burn marks all over them running past her. She turns around, and there's this beautiful mangrove forest that is completely ablaze and on fire, around 80 feet high of flames. Where is my cursor here on my notes? There we go. 80 feet high of flames, and there smells like rot and brimstone, and she can see plumes of smoke just trailing up into the sky. And there's a figure moving through the swamp, dragging animals on chains. And then a larger figure emerges atop a fiery skeletal horse with orange eyes. The rider looks at Callie and points at her with the edge of a greatsword and charges at her. She tries to flee, but her legs are almost stuck in the muck of the ground, and she sees a mass of bone and his gnarled hand and feels a searing heat as his sword plunges straight into her chest. And in the next moment, she is awake. Her wings are extended, her shield is in hand, and her sword is extended down towards Kamea in their bed. Kamea is yelling at her to like try and get her awake, and she finally clocks it. She drops her weapons and collapses, and Kamea yells for Neppy as Callie clutches her chest, screaming out and feeling this burning, searing pain in the center of it. So Neppy and Cotonian run in as their room is on the same floor as Callie and Kamea's. And they get Callie to lie down, and Neppy gives her a pretty thorough medical examination, and she's not injured, but the skin where she felt the sword go into her chest is like burning hot to the touch. And Neppy, like using her magic, like does what's the thing that I can do to detect undead. So uses her ability to detect undead. I forget the name of it. It's a grave cleric ability, and it detects an essence of necromancy in the middle of Callie's chest, and is like, "This is really bad. This is really, really bad." So what Neppy figures is that the touching of necromancy to Callie's celestial form activated her, kind of like that essence of divinity in her, which is where the wings, because her wings kind of popped out unwarranted. And she's now got this burning, searing pain in her chest, and it's left a mark on her. So Callie's like, I have to go. We have to go to the Feywild. I know that there's stuff that we have to do, but I'm going to go tomorrow. She's like, you don't have to come with me. I know this is the Baron, and I know he's behind this. And we're like, shut the fuck up. We're coming with you. Of course we're coming with you. We will get the group in the morning. We'll tend to our business here in Wolframe. Give us the morning, and we'll go. So Kamea talks about Alderwood, the town where she was from, and that the people there would be the proper folks to go to learn about how to get to the Feywild. But if we do go, we shouldn't say we know Kamea. And she doesn't say more than that. And we try and we thank her and say, okay, that's the plan. We'll do that tomorrow. And we try and get back to our rest. And that is where we ended that session. So
that was all one session?
Yep.
Woof.
Big session.
Lore heavy session. So next we move on to session 33, which is actually a side quest adventure that not the main campaign participated in. So Tim was running a bit of a side quest adventure that we called The Adventures in Clore, which is the small group of islands kind of off the coast of Wolfar, just above Cinderfall. This is where it's like New Orleans. It's like a very kind of like that New Orleans in the middle of Mardi Gras feel. It's run by guilds. There's like the Resurrection, which is a thieves guild, the Pleasure Wilds, which run brothels, and then there's the Resurrection, the thieves guild. What's the other one, Tim? Oh, the Stalkers Pact, right? No. What's the other group? The Stalkers Pact, yeah, which is like a mercenary and hunting guild. So they're the kind of three guilds that control these islands. So there was a side quest that was happening, and because it's an in-canon, I included it as in-canon, but it wasn't anything that the main Blackwater crew participated in. Bix, my Dragonborn Paladin of Paylor, was in that one as well. Tim and I have some plans in the works about how we're going to bring this lore into the main field of play, but that's an actionable one at the table, so we'll see how that goes. Session 34 was the Adventures in Amonkhet.
I'm still counting this one as an extra session that we've covered today. So now we've done two sessions. So far.
Okay, and now we're going to have another one because session 34 was the Adventures in Amonkhet, which was Tim's birthday one-shot, which is where the mercenaries helped King Velsum destroy the Hand of Io, kicking off the Dawn War and all of that carnage. If you're like, Emma, what is the Adventures in Amonkhet? And you said you've already talked about that, but where can we find that? Head on over to the episode in the history and lore section that talks specifically about the Dawn War, and we do talk about that as well. So that, session 34, Adventures in Amonkhet.
3 sessions today.
Boom!
Killing it.
Killing it. You guys are doing great.
We're ripping Obai in our fucking Bugattis.
Session 35. So this session is called The Temple of the Winged Serpent. And if you have seen our break scroll in the middle of our main campaign sessions, you'll see that there is a black and white image that says episode 35 in the corner. It's because this is the very first session that I have an audio recording for. And when Tiana and I first met and started hanging out, I sent her the audio recordings of my recaps for the sessions. And she's like, can I draw art of this? And I said, yes, of course you can. So she's like, I'm going to sketch part of this thing. And we were like, okay, great. Amazing. So this was the very first one. That's why the episode 35 art is included in there, and that's where it came from. So this session happened on July 14th, 2019. We get up the next morning, and Letters sets out to explore the city, getting a feel for the people and having some of his own exploits with Clack. I think Sean was away for this session, so we just narrated that Letters.
Oh, this was the first one with Numbers. Numbers wasn't even named yet.
No, this was just a Letters goes out and explores the city kind of episode. So Kamea leaves for the council meeting, which we have to attend later. She has said, okay, I've gotten word that they would like you to be there. We think it's potentially going to be for this zone of truth that Neppy has suggested to submit to. So even though we know that we have plans to go to the Feywild immediately, we decide that it's likely not a good idea to leave before this council meeting that we have been summoned to, because we're basically being like, zone of truth me, and then boof, we're gone. Like, so that's probably not a good idea. So
little sus.
Yeah, a little bit sus. So we decide to stay and have them cast Zone of Truth on Neppy if that's what they choose to do, and so that they can get the truth out regarding what happened with Kern and Mira, as well as Zakis and his allies. We then decide this is the very first time we'll have used the talisman, to try and bounce to the plane of air. Because we're like, okay, like the plane of air, we don't really know much about it. We know we've always wanted to go to Siral. Chi is there. If we can find her, she's always encouraged us to come. So like, this will be the safest because the water plane sucks. The fire plane, bad. Earth plane, not going back there. So let's try and go to the airplane because that seems to be a safe place to bounce to. And then we'll travel and then we'll bounce down to Svelen to return Kern and Mira to King Evard, and so that they can go back home. And then we'll travel northwards towards Alderwood, whereas we have to go find the entrance to the Feywild. So Nepika's sending to Chi, and it's basically like, hey, is this possible? Can we do this? She's like, yeah, you need to find Siral, the city in the clouds. There's floating islands, a winged serpent, and some stone towers. You'll know it when you see it. And we're like, great. Okay, cool. We have no idea where we're going, but if we know it when we'll see it, awesome. Great. So we realize that we actually have to leave the city with Kern and Mira and get them out of the city because they've essentially been hiding in Kamea's cellar up to this point, because if either of them are found, they're dead. And Kamea will be accused of treason. It'll be really, really bad. So Neppy is like, okay, I'm the one who said to submit to the Zone of Truth. If I'm likely the one to get Zone of Truth, I need to be blissfully ignorant about every way that you're going to get Kern and Mira out of the city. I cannot know where they are. So she's like, I'm going to go upstairs and pray loudly for the next hour. You folks plan. Call me when you're ready. I don't want to know anything about what you're doing. I'm going to go pray very, very loudly upstairs. So she goes and does that. And she essentially puts herself in a cone of silence. She casts silence and just puts herself in a bubble for as long as she can and just prays for a bit. So the group then decides to have Finnan make his way out of the city alone, while Yana polymorphs Kern and Mira successively into birds. So they will fly out of the city, meet Finnan in the woods, unpolymorph, and then another, after about 30 minutes, she'll do the next person. And that works. So the Kern and Mira get out of the city and they wait in the woods for us to come meet them at a predetermined spot. Yana, Kokanee, Callie, and Neppy, once this is done, they come get Neppy from upstairs and they say, okay, we're going to the council meeting. Kokanee casts Enhance Ability on Neppy for Charisma before she goes in there to give her any of the buffs she needs. Nissa's there, Kamea, Andaz, Cora, Wendell, the new general who had been voted in that morning, Illyrian Solgar, who's a tall, blonde, sandy-haired elf in about his mid-30s. And there's also a woman with them who looks to be a priestess of Paylor named Shiral Starsong. So we get talking to the Admiral and still put one more plea out there. Be like, please don't go to war. I hope what we have to say convinces you today. And Neppy, through an insight check, realizes that the Admiral is pushing for avenging Queen Thialia's death because he was in love with her.
Aww.
Yeah.
Cute.
So, and I think that there was going to be...
Tragic.
Yeah. And I think that there was going to be a plan to marry... Tim, please correct me if I'm wrong on this one, that somebody from Svelen was going to marry Thialia, right? They wanted King Evard. Right. They wanted King Evard to marry Thialia. to create a unity
Oh,
between the two
well then.
cities. So the admiral was jealous, and when the queen was assassinated by someone who looked like Mira and King Evard's daughter, who would have, that motive to be jealous that her dad is getting married for
It
political
all fits.
It all fits. And the Neppy, in a way, acknowledges this with Kazim and goes, I get the sense that your connection with the queen was more than just colleagues or more than just political. And she goes, and he kind of like checks it for a moment that she clocks what was happening. Very perceptive, my girl. So they then zone of truth Neppy. So Neppy like goes and sits in the circle, willingly fails the throw, and they ask her, "Do you know the location of Kern Burnman?" And because you cannot lie in the center of zone of truth, because I currently did not know the location of Kern Burnman, I could legitimately say no. And they ask, "Are they still in the city?" And Neppy says, "I don't know," because she doesn't know where they are. "Where are they?" Neppy doesn't know. "Did you at any point know?" And Neppy says, "I respectfully decline to answer the question." Because you can do that in Zone of Truth. You can say that you're not willing to answer the question. It's not a forced answer. You just can't lie. So they're like, "Well, it means you did know at some point." And Neppy says, "I just respectfully decline to answer the question." And then they ask her, "Are you enemies of Wolfrene?" And she says, "Absolutely not." Next question was the queen's assassin really the dragonborn Sindral Doomwing in disguise? And Neppy says, "To our knowledge, yes." Were you working with Zakkus? No, we fought against him from the very start. And finally, the last question is, will you help King Evard threaten or attack Wolfrene? And Neppy said, "I would offer help and aid to any monarch, but I would never go against Wolfrene." So Neppy forging the path of informed neutrality. Basically being like, yeah, we don't know these things, and I can only confirm to you what we've told you all along. So they believe her, but seem very unsatisfied with the results. I think Admiral Kazim was really pushing for war, and we plead them once more, please don't go to war, please don't. Your city is rebuilding. Like, this happened with stuff that happened with Zakkus was like 4 days ago. Allow your city time to rebuild and allow the wound to heal. The perpetrators have been vanquished. This is not a threat anymore. Let your city heal. So we go back to the house, kit up, and we make our way out of the city, picking up 2 of the platinum rings that are ready. The other ones aren't ready at this point. There are so many glitter guard also throughout the city, like a lot. So with Cora being on the council and folks from Barmwich having come over to help rebuild Wolfrene, there's just like an excess of glitter guard throughout the city. So we're like having to dodge glitter guard who seem to be like tailing us throughout the city.
And we go into great detail about glitter guard during our chatWater meat prison arc.
The Barmwich arc, yes.
The Barmwich arc, aka
which was the very first one that we did. When you will hear about the meat prison, if you're wondering where that is, it's all in our history and lore section. So please go check that out. We're tying all the little threads together. We're so close. We're so close. So we meet up with Finnan and walk out of town and realize that we're being followed through the woods by about 3 or 4 glitter guard. So we managed to circle around, be sneaky in some way or shape or form, and we lose them. Finnan at this point takes a couple people and we circle back and we go get letters. Finnan circles back and goes and gets letters alone and says that they'll meet us in Svelen in a couple days' time. And they were going to head there via boat.
I remember this.
Because I think you couldn't make the next session and neither could Adam. So we're just basically they're just going to travel by boat and then the rest of us will bounce to the airport.
And in case you're wondering, we did have misadventures.
They did.
But we'll cover that next time.
They did. So we use the talisman and we plane shift to the plane of air for the first time, feeling this really weightless sensation and this rising with like rush of air coming past us. So we land on solid ground, seemingly on a floating piece of island in open sky. There's like nothing around us. It's super bright and there's really no telling how far down it is. Like if you fall off the edge, I think Callie or Kokanee might have kicked some rocks off the end and they just go. There's like no falling. Like there's no stop. They just keep going. And we see this kind of like open air temple surrounding a shrine with crumbled columns in a horseshoe shape with a big statue of a winged serpent in the center of it. We walk to the center of the horseshoe to look at the statue, and we see that there's hints of blue crystal, which look like Aerolite, the shards of Arathis that we had seen. And we're like, why is there Aerolite here? And this is, we recognize the statue from what we learned. We're like, this is Akadi. Why is a statue of Akadi imbued with Aerolite? Kokanee feels like this place is really familiar to him, and he feels like a knowing about it. And with, I think it was a history check or something, he realized that one of the visions he had about Arathis was here, had taken place here, where Arathis met Akadi to discuss the Dawn War. Because, now, if you boys remember correctly, why did Akadi join the Dawn War? Do you remember?
Because they wanted to take her Bugatti.
That was it.
No. There was another reason. There's a very specific reason she joined. She was very reluctant and the last one to do so. But why did she join the Dawn War?
It had something to do with Grumbar.
Yes, it absolutely did.
He joined quickly, and they were super close.
Yes, so he joined. So Asticia was first in, and she convinced Garrix to come in. Then Asticia and Garrix convinced Grumbar to join, and Akadi only joined to like protect her brother. Essentially, Akadi didn't want to go to war, and that's the vision that Kokanee saw. He said it was basically Arathis trying to be like, please don't join the war, please. So and Akadi was like, well, I have to go. If Grumbar is in, then I must join as well. So we take a look.
In his car.
Gotta
it's
get
Grumbar.
in that Bugatti. So we.
You know what though, Em? I'm gonna be honest.
Yes.
The reason that I remembered it was because when we made up those rhymes, we made specifically Grumbar and Akadi have Bugattis, and that was because but follow. That was because they were the closest to one another.
This is true.
They were like each other's favorites.
Yes. Well,
that's why they both drive Bugattis.
Well, it's a really good thing that those, devices are coming in handy, because otherwise I'd have to kill both of you.
The true deep lore question is, which got their Bugatti first, and was it out? Yeah, obviously. Grumbar did get in his car first. It was Bugatti. But when Akadi got her Bugatti, was it out of a sense of envy of Grumbar's car, or was it like solidarity?
I think it was a solidarity Bugatti. I think it had to be.
I think Grumbar bought Akadi her Bugatti.
Wow.
Grumbar said, "I'm Grumbar, get in your car."
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's the Viper of the Sky, just like you.
So we take a look around this open air temple, and Spooky finds a relief, a mural of a mountain range, and it's carved into the stone of this temple with sand dunes and clouds. It seems very much like the earth elemental plane, and it's opposite of where the serpent statue is. It seems like there was a space where there was a statue, but now there is no longer. So Kokanee looks around a little bit more and finds a copper plate with human-sized footprints on it, or like humanoid-sized footprints on it. Callie steps atop it, and her sword pulses with energy, and her holy symbol lights up, but nothing happens. So we're like, okay, so divine connection is probably good. So Kokanee steps on it, and his holy symbol alights, as well as his gun pulses with energy as the copper plate begins to shift and reveals the symbol of Arathis in a depression, big enough for his holy symbol to fit into. So he places it in, and in Celestial, the words reveal themselves. His fate lies in my children's hands. So we take that to mean this is Arathis' children hold the fate of Grumbar.
Oh, that checks out.
Meaning Kokanee likely has something to do, or the followers of Arathis have the ability to affect Grumbar. and his wanderings. So we look at the statue of Akadi, and again, because there's a bunch of divine shit happening, and we're like, wait a minute, like what is happening here? This seems like a puzzle, like something has to change because we're stuck here. This doesn't feel like the earth or the air elemental plane yet, because we're not in this big city. There's no Aarakocra here. There's nobody. So we look at the statue of Akadi again, and the veins seem to connect and collect at 2 points of blue ore that are in its mouth. And we try and figure out the puzzle, but so Yana, being the brilliant wizard that she is, casts the cantrip Tiny Tornado, which she had taken from Zacchus and in his study, into the mouth of Akadi, trying to charge the Aerolite in its mouth with magic, which begins to glow this like bright blue-white, and the clouds around the statue, like the stone clouds in the statue, start to shift and move as the island that we're standing on starts to shake. And we're like, oh fuck, okay, magic, this is good. We then turn around, and the mountain relief behind us has started to change, with the center of it rising up. The sand dunes rise with sand and gravel pouring out of it, and we take a step back to look and realize that what we thought were mountains were actually teeth. And it looks like we're in a relief or a depiction of Grumbar's mouth, the mouth of a wolf. And we're like, we see another plate appear with another language on it. And Yana uses comprehend languages to figure out that it says in Orin, which is the language of the Aarakocra, end his wandering so that we may look upon each other. So you have the statue of Akadi over here, looking at the relief of Grumbar over here, basically saying the fate of Grumbar lies in the hand of Erasmus's children, and end Grumbar's wanderings so that we may look upon each other again. So we're like, okay. So we're like, something here, we have to do something. So we look around at the mountain range again, and Neppy starts clearing away some of the dirt and sand around the teeth and sees that there is a space in the middle where it looks like a piece of stone should go. And she looks back at Kokanee and the shard of Grumbar that he wears on his neck. And is you need to take that off. And he's like, what? And she's like, you need to trust me. You need to take that off and you need to put it in the space. She's like, that's where that goes. This is where this is from. He's like, how do you know? She's like, I don't. But trust me.
Put the thing in the
Put
thing.
the thing in the space. So he takes it off and suffers 2 levels of exhaustion as
Whoa.
he does so.
Oh, because the buddy was like, you're not allowed to take that off.
Because the pact magic that Kargan had put on him, yes. So Kokanee puts the shard of Grumbar in the space, and the whole island starts to shake and crack down the center, emanating right from where he put the shard in. And this huge chasm splits, and the clouds around us start to swirl, and their lightning is streaking across the sky. Huge chunks of rocks just start pelting the island that we're standing on, and myself, Neppy, Kokanee, Yana, Kern, and Mira all fly off the edge. And we're knocked unconscious. Like, all of us are just out because of the change in air pressure, and we're just like flying off of this island rock. Callie manages to make her Constitution saving throw and is the only one to do so. And as she begins to fall, she sees these giant eyes light up in the clouds. And she manages to hold her breath as she plummets off the edge of this cliff as well, seeing a huge serpentine body weaving its way in and out of the clouds. There's a bright flash of lightning, like sheet lightning, that goes like across the sky in a horizontal pattern behind Callie, and she hears the words, "Thank you," as she slips out of consciousness. So, we wake, unsure of how long later. We are in the distance. We see some large spires with another statue of a winged serpent, very similar to the one we saw in the open air temple, but not the same one. And Callie looks at her hands, and she has a tattoo of a cloud with blue veins on it. And we see a eagle Aarakocra, a familiar one. walking down the steps towards us. And we realize
Is it Chi?
it is Chi. And we realize we are on the steps of the Temple of the Winged Serpent. She welcomes us to Siral. And we see now Siral for the first time. As Tim often describes it in session, like these beautiful spires with plenty of different Aarakocra folk flying around these like island rocks that you can jump between or fly between, a really place made for flying. So we realize that in the end, Kokani has fulfilled the promise that he has made to Kargan as a desert giant, and now, because of the shard of Grumbar being returned, his wanderings are over, and he may return to the scar, and Akadi may look upon her brother again. So, we did it. We're the Elemental Defense Society. Fuck those guys.
I want to team up with those guys.
Right.
I want to do some work with I want to do some aggressive work with the Elemental Defense Society.
I mean,
I want to
it's pretty good.
I hear they do like a really good set of lectures once a year.
Yeah, the TED's talk. Yeah,
the TED's talks. Yeah.
Thank you, Giannis. Thank you so much.
Very good.
So did we want to do one more?
Oh, I don't know if we have time for one more.
I don't think we have time for one more.
We did 4.
We did 4.
We did
I think
4.
that's a record.
It's not.
I think we got to call it there, because if I recall correctly, and I do because I was there, like next session, we're hitting the road, we're hitting the woods, we're hitting those ghosts. We get to find out the wild misadventures that little Finnan and Letters were on.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. We have one more session in the air elemental plane where we spend some time learning legends about the Dawn War with Chi, and then we head off on the road to Alderwood.
Yes, see, that sounds lore deep.
Lore deep.
We don't want to rush through lore-heavy episodes.
No, we don't.
No.
We don't. And there will be lots of time for you to talk about all sorts of Bugattis, because Akadi and Grumbar are littered throughout that lore.
Good.
So
Lovely.
Good. That's why I do what we do.
I know. That's exactly why you do what you do. So
All about that
next week,
Bugattis.
deep lore. There's pirates. There's ghosts.
Yes.
There's forests.
Fiends.
There's fiends. There's a bone devil.
There is. All
Get
of that
ready.
kind of good stuff coming up. Yeah.
The Feywild Arc.
The Feywild Arc. This is one of my favorites. I like this one too.
Some Cali deep lore.
Deep Cali lore. And lots of good fights. Lots of good fights in this arc. So yeah, that's all I got for you. So come back and hang out with us on Saturday for our main campaign. But yeah.
Maybe you guys will get to main campaign stuff, or maybe you'll just fuck around and
hell for 3
It's
hours.
for a
all
while.
main campaign stuff.
It's all in canon,
Look,
Giannis.
Here's the thing. Straight up, if we do have just like if we do just have like a little bit of time, here's my pitch. If we do defeat that pit fiend, then we just get to run amok in hell a bit. Like, we figure out how the levers work, and then we're like, well, as long as we're here, let's take some stuff. Like,
I
look,
would like to
it's
get
not,
in and get out of hell. And
no.
not
Hear me out. It's not morally wrong to steal from devils, because if you can't steal from literal evil, not people, who can you steal from, right?
I mean,
let's murder these devils in their homes, and they'll die permanently. They're devils, and let's take their things.
I feel like there's a bunch of people out there being like, devils are people too. But
yeah, as in they're sentient beings, but they're like evil.
Lawful evil, at least.
Yeah. Which is arguably worse than chaotic evil. Like, arguably, point is, it's all bad. Let's wipe them all out and let God decide. # they can't, because they disappear when you kill them in their home plane.
Maybe we'll get back to see what the head of the banded Sombra has to say for us and our ability to go to the Shadowfell, where apparently everything sucks.
And you guys are going to go and have no spell slots left. You're going to arrive there and be like, can we go tomorrow? Because, we're real tired tonight.
Yeah, and we're going to have to trek all the way to the Gloomspire. God dang it.
But think how it'll be very difficult to track, considering all the devil loot that we will have taken with us as we ransack this prison.
I wanted to know
they
more
have
about
one guard.
The monk who had made it there.
Oh, yes. I want to know about that.
That's got to be...
Well, if they give us the go-ahead, we'll ask about that.
And I mean, there's also been a priestess of Neppy's order who has gone to the Shadowfell. So I want to know about that. I want to know if these monks have any record of this priestess in their history. That's what I want to know. But that's just for me. So In any
Anyways.
case.
See you Wednesday. See you Friday. No, not Wednesday.
No, Wednesday.
Not Wednesday.
Stay away on Wednesday.
Go watch the
You
Wagadu
take the
one
night
shot.
off.
Go
Take
watch
the
the
night
Wagadu one shot. Relax, watch the Wagadu one shot, and then come hang out with us on Saturday. We love you all.
All right. Kissy,
Good
kissy, 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 kissy.